On April 5th, 1902, approximately 68,000 Scottish and English supporters gathered in Ibrox Stadium in Glasgow, Scotland, in order to watch what would be the deciding match between England and Scotland for the British Home Championship. Coming into the match, all Scotland had to do was simply not lose to England in order to win the championship, meaning they needed a draw or an outright victory. About 30 minutes into the game, a player by the name of Bobby Templeton gained possession of the ball and was making his debut for the Scottish national team. Just a few seconds later, a cracking noise was heard and a large portion of the stands on the west side opened up and approximately 200 to 300 people fell down to the concrete pad below. Two individuals immediately died in the fall, with several hundred more injured, and over the next few days, at least 23 more people would die from injuries suffered in the collapse. Immediately after the collapse, many of the fans on this side of the stands rushed onto the field to get away from the collapsing structure, which many players believed to be a standard field invasion that happened on occasion. Now, many of the players didn't know what was going on until ambulances started showing up to take people away to the hospital. Players, coaches, and referees gathered together to decide what to do and decided to finish the match after a 20-minute delay, so players went back to their locker rooms. In the end, the game ended in a 1-1 draw, which would have given Scotland the British Home Championship. They then decided to play again later. They didn't want to count that game, but it ended up going Scotland's way anyway. Now, the actual cause of the collapse has never been conclusively determined. There have been several theories put forward, including the distribution of weight of fans. There's also the fact that it had rained heavily the day before, which may have contributed to some of the collapse. In addition, when that Scottish player who was making his debut gathered the ball, there was a rush towards the field to see him, but then everyone that was down at the very base of the stands ran out onto the track that surrounds the field, and then that caused it so that the people that were moving down could no longer see, so everyone moved back up to be able to see over the crowd of people in the front, which put a bunch of pressure on the actual stands itself, which then caused it to collapse. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, hey, an Ibrox disaster sounds familiar, that's because there was a second Ibrox Stadium disaster at the same stadium on January 2nd, 1971, in which a bunch of fans were leaving the stadium. Someone tripped at the bottom of the stairs, which caused a massive crowd crush, which ended up killing 66 people, which at the time was the deadliest football stadium disaster until a few years later.